My book, How to Be Miserable, 40 Strategies You Already Use, came out in 2016, and it did pretty well. How do I know? Well, I'll let you in on a secret. Amazon has a back door. If you've written a book and you have an account, you can get in and see how your book has been doing. You know that when you look up a book on Amazon, you can see its sales rank, right? Essentially, it's a bestseller list, except that instead of the top 10, it's the top 10 million. And in Author Central, you can see where it's been every day since the book was released. And it gives you every edition: paperback, Kindle, audiobook, everything. So if you've written a book, you can check up and see where you sit. And really, most people who've written a book do this at least now and then. You don't want to get too obsessed with this idea, because really that way lies madness. But chances are you spent a lot of time on your book, so you want to know if anybody is reading it. And this is how you find out. So anyway, one day I go on this thing to look up How to Be Miserable, which has been going along up and down, except all of a sudden, for the last few days, it suddenly shot way up. One day, it was the 19th best-selling audiobook, and the paperback was way up there as well. And I was thinking, what just happened? Did Oprah finally take notice of me? No, of course not. But I ran a search and I remembered something. A few months before, a YouTuber had contacted me and asked if I'd mind if he did a short video based on the book. I don't know if the publisher had sent him a copy or what, how this happened. I'd never heard of this guy, but I said, yeah, sure, whatever. Just mention the title of the book. Maybe it'll sell a few copies. Well, clearly, I had no idea. His name was CGP Grey. And when I finally saw the video, I realized I'd seen his stuff before. He has a signature style involving stick figures, and most of his work is on things like explaining the difference between the UK and Great Britain, which I never understood. So this thing gets released to his subscribers, and within a week, it has over 1 million views. At this point, it's over 4 million. And it's that day that it's released, that it rockets up. Now, I quite like the video that Grey put up, so apparently do other people. And I'll post a link to it below. He picks 7 ideas from the book: exercise, screen time, lousy goal setting, and you can watch the video and see. But he coins a new word that's not actually in my book. He's talking about people who spend most of their time at home and online. And it's clear from the animation that they're in their bedroom. But it's not their bedroom. It's their all-room. It's where they do everything. It's like a jail cell that's unlocked. But they never leave. I love the concept of the all-room, and I wish I could take credit for it. But the really interesting thing to me is the comments underneath Grey's video. There's over 15,000 of them. And I wondered, how are people going to react to this stuff? So I did a really unscientific thing. I put the comments in order by date, and I looked at 472 sequential comments. And I coded each one of them. That's the bad part, because there's always a bit of judgment involved. But I really tried to be even-handed. And there's a variety of reactions. About 2% of the people commenting completely missed the point, wondering, why would anyone want to know how to feel sad? Look at it again and use your head. Anyway, about 3% of them figured that people needed the idea explained to them, so they pointed out that it wasn't really all about feeling worse. A friend of mine used to refer to this type of individual as Morris the Explainer. About 4% were sarcastic or critical toward the video or toward Grey himself. Close to 5% said they did a lot of the things in the video. but they weren't particularly sad. They were living a pretty isolated life, and it just seemed to suit them. How many just said how much they liked it? About 6%. You thought it would be higher, right? But it kind of was, because another 8% thanked him for creating and posting this video, saying that it helped or inspired them to make some kind of change in their own lives. And that 8% was the second most common type of reply, which obviously begs the question, what was the most common type of comment? It was some variation of, I do this stuff, I live this way, and it explains at least some of how I feel. And how many of the replies, how many of the comments fit within that description? 54% of them, more than half. Now, I think if you went through my coding, you could probably argue with me about some of it. But there were a lot of people who watched it, and they didn't see a video. They saw a mirror of their own lives. At some level, that's no surprise. It's a YouTube video like this one, right? People who watch a lot of YouTube videos are going to be overrepresented, obviously. It's like going to a bar and finding people who drink, or going to a university and discovering, oh gosh, a lot of people are students. But still, it was interesting that so many people saw themselves. Kind of made me glad that I'd written the book, made me want to write a sequel. That comes out next March. So what's the point of this post? I don't know. But if you want a suggestion, here it is. Make a mental scale from 0 to 10, or 0 to 7, whatever. Go watch the video, calculate your own score, and see if, just maybe, it has any relevance to your own life. Are you doing many of the things that are in that video? Again, the link's below. You can get How to Be Miserable from your local bookseller or from Amazon. The link's below.